Yep, seems like today's the day we're gonna expose some real estate marketing companies. So let's get to it. All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video here on the Real Estate Marketing Guys YouTube channel. Aaron here, of course, once again. Like we said in the intro, we're gonna be exposing some real estate marketing companies. Now, I'm gonna put a quick disclaimer out there. This is really for educational purposes only. Hopefully this doesn't rub anybody the wrong way, but if you do take offense to this, if you're one of these larger companies or marketing agencies, it's probably because whatever I say is true and it's something you wanna work on, but I'm just sick and tired of having conversations with real estate agents and them saying, I got burned by this money. I didn't get, what I wanted out of it. People took my money and they ran with it. So hopefully we're gonna give you kind of the pros and cons of some of these companies that have probably reached out to you and really dive into the nitty gritty of each of those. And then hopefully give you some insights of should you sign on with them, should you not? And yeah, so let's jump into it. Really quick reminder, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Also click post notifications, get notified every time we go live. So with that being said, all that out of the way, let's get to it. By the way, on the other side of this whiteboard, it's gonna be the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind when you invest into any sort of marketing with any sort of company or even doing it yourself. So anyway, stay tuned for that portion. So the first thing, we're really gonna go over, we'll say three to four different types of marketing or companies that you wanna look out for. And the first one that is probably the one you got hit up by the most, and that is marketing agencies. Probably gonna get some hate by some fellow marketing agencies in the comments. That's okay, but again, this is all for really education to make sure that people stop wasting their money on things that don't work. So marketing agencies. We're a marketing agency. I own a marketing agency. I guess we're kind of technically a service at this point, but some of the biggest things that you wanna know about marketing agencies, if you don't know this already, 99% of them probably haven't even had a client before. Now that's, I guess, kind of me calling them out, but more of understanding that these are the types of people that you're going to be working with. And of course, I'll give you some tips of how you can see if they're legit or not. So again, marketing agencies, they're probably going through some sort of course. They maybe there we go. They maybe have maybe had a client or two. They might not even have went through a course and just were looking up some videos on YouTube on how to generate leads for real estate. And you just need to understand that that's that for a good majority of these people is where they kind of are within their journey. That's not to say that they shouldn't be doing that. We all started with one client. I started with one client, but I also didn't charge for that. Actually, I didn't charge really for the first 6 clients that I had because I wanted to gain the case studies and the results and really understand the real estate marketing game. So really 2 or 3 things to look out for when it comes to the marketing agency. Number 1, it should go without saying, is just before you give them money, ask them who they've worked with before. What are the type of results that they can get? Now, I wouldn't ask because we don't personally give out like names of our clients and numbers because at the end of the day, if someone decides to work with us, their information is kept, not a secret, but we don't want a bunch of prospective clients that just maybe want to grow their business. We don't want them, bombarding our current clients, right? The same thing, you wouldn't give your phone number or your client's phone number out to a bunch of other people for them to get bombarded with phone calls just to, maybe in hopes of working with you. So that's the first thing, is just make sure that they have some sort of credibility. The second thing that you want to look at is make sure that they have some sort of social media presence. And again, this should go without saying, but if a marketing agency that wants to work with you doesn't have marketing presence and they're not marketing themselves, if they're not paying for ads for their agency, if they're not creating consistent video and text content on their Facebook, on their Instagram, on their LinkedIn, on their website, how could you trust a marketing company that doesn't know how to market themselves? It kind of boggles my mind sometimes. If you want a good example, check me out on Facebook. You probably already are. We're posting consistent content to make sure that, again, we're staying in front of our ideal client. And then really the third thing that I would look at is just understanding what sort of platform they're advertising on, right? So the biggest ones that we've probably heard of, we've heard of Facebook, we've heard of Instagram, which is technically the same thing. There's YouTube advertising, which we do, and obviously organic. And then there is also, Google, right? PPC. So understanding that you kind of get what you pay for. So Facebook and Instagram, a lot of times is going to be the disruption-based platforms, right? So you're getting in front of people that don't really have the intent to buy or sell a house. So keep in mind, that you understand those. And then YouTube and Google are going to more often than not come with, yes, a little bit of a higher price tag as you're getting the higher quality of people that are intent-based, right? These people have intent of things that they're searching for or videos they're searching for online or whatever it may be, right? The intent to actually transact, we'll say, if we can put it in that way, is a lot higher because, again, they are searching, they're actively searching for these specific things. So in a nutshell, I mean, just make sure you do some sort of due diligence when it comes to giving a random person on the internet that is reaching out to you saying, hey, I'm a marketing agency, I help agents do blah, 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 blah. Just make sure there's some sort of bottom line credibility in that side of things. Now, the second of the 3 companies, or I guess business models we'll say, is going to be either BoldLeads or StreetText. These are ones, the reason I'm saying these 2 is because these are the most prevalent that I've seen within the space, BoldLeads and StreetText. Both of these they pretty much work in the exact same way. StreetText is very heavy on, at least from what I've seen, right? There could be some other smaller nuances that I'm unaware of, but I know of within the past couple of months, it has been heavily reliant on Facebook and Instagram ads, right? Social media ads. Like we said before, when it comes to Facebook and Instagram ads, the biggest thing that you need to just set your own expectations on is that these people, you're gonna get a lot of people that come through, right? You're gonna get, hundreds of leads that come through for, small amounts of dollars, but the industry standard of ones that actually convert into not even like a closed transaction, but just a conversation is about, I think last time that I checked, it's about 7%. And then the actual transaction rate is like maybe 1%, right? Like 1% of people. So let's say you generate 100 leads, there might be one of those people that transact, out of those people, but also understand that the people that are on Facebook are a lot further out. So even though, let's say you do it for 1 month and you generate 100 leads, there's gonna be one person out of those 100, statistically speaking, that actually convert into a transaction, but it could be months from now, right? It's just technically saying 1% of those people will transact sometime. So it could be months, it could be years maybe, but again, just kind of doing the math with yourself of, does that make sense financially for me to, follow up with 100 people, only 1% actually converting over sometime, right? It's kind of sucks to say, there's really no predictability there until you start spending a lot of money. So I'm not gonna do like a full-on breakdown of what it looks like money-wise. What I'll probably do, because I don't want this video to be too long, is I'll break them down individually, like one video for StreetText, one for BoldLeads, marketing agencies, just so it makes sense. So with all that broken down, BoldLeads is very much so the same way. Now, I know the only other thing that they do have ahead of other companies, they do have their own CRM in place, they do have more campaigns, right? Follow-up campaigns. They do have some retargeting in place to then, convert more people over. Again, the biggest part of this is just understanding that whether it's BoldLeads or StreetText, you're still going to be using some sort of social media platform to get it out in front of people. But again, the biggest thing is just understanding that CRM, campaigns, retargeting, a lot of this is still going to be done through Facebook and Instagram, which, as we talked about before, there's not really a lot of intent behind the people that are on Facebook and Instagram. They're kind of just there to hang out and scroll through social media because they're kind of bored and they want to see what Aunt Sally's doing. They want to see if Uncle John finally got married, stopped being annoying, things like that. So we've talked about StreetText, we've talked about BoldLeads, and we've talked about marketing agencies. As I said at the beginning of the video, not sure if you remember, is on the other side of this board, I think one of the biggest things you need to keep in mind when it comes to investing into any of these real estate marketing companies, and that is, drumroll please, dun, 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 dun. I probably could have made that a lot bigger. Got a glare here. Expectations. Expectations is by far the most important part when it comes to investing into anything on the internet, when it comes to obviously real estate marketing. We'll keep it to the topic of this one. And this is from both sides, right? Not only understanding and setting the right expectations for yourself, but make sure that the company that you're working with is also setting expectations with you in 2 forms. Number 1 is going to be the money expectations and the time expectations. Right? So when it comes to money, and this is the way that I look at it, when you look at the stock market, and outside of obviously Bitcoin, it's not in the stock market, but outside of that, right, you can't really find an investment, a sound investment that is going to give you a ton of return in a short amount of time, unless you're spending a lot of money, right? So when you're looking at some of these companies, whether it's a marketing agency or BoldLeads or StreetText, right, most of these services are less than $1,000 a month. Some of them even like $300, $400 a month. Listening to that, it might sound like a lot of money, right? It might sound, oh, well, that's half my mortgage or whatever it is. But also understanding that if you're let's just say, $350,000 house, you're making 3% of that, not going into desk fees and all the expenses and whatnot, but you're looking at, let's say, 10 grand, right? $10,000 for 3% of a $350,000 house, assuming that that's an average. Now, obviously, take your average price point and change that. But if we're looking at a $300 investment, right, a month to generate multiple or even one closing, that's, I don't know what the math is, but spending $300 to make $11,000 or $10,000 or even $8,000, I'd do that all day long, right? That's like a 10, 15 times ROI on the money that you put into it. Again, let's just say it's $4,000, even if it's $1,000, right? I would put $1,500 in every single day of the week to make $5,000, $10,000. So when you're, I have a lot of conversations with real estate agents that are like, oh, well, Aaron, $1,500 a month is a lot of money. But it's like, compared to what? $1,500 a month is a lot, yes, if you're throwing it out the window. But if you're spending $1,500 to make $10,000, I mean, hey, I do that every single day of the week. I'd spend $5,000 to make $10,000, right? That's a 2 times ROI. So when you're spending the money into this and you're saying, oh, that's too expensive, or the company's like, oh, well, you just spent $300 a month and we'll help you get 10 closings a month, right? I've been seeing that all over the place. Run for the hills, because it's not a proper expectation, right? So when it comes to expectation, again, them setting the proper expectation for you, and then you setting the proper expectation for yourself as well, right? And the second part of it in terms of expectation is the time that it takes to see results for some of these things. Now, I'd love to say that you can just put some money into Facebook ads and generate a ton of money in the first 15 days. And one of the examples that I always give is you want to look back at, what is an average sales cycle, or how long does it usually take to see results for any sort of lead that you talk to, right? Whether it's a referral or someone that's coming into town or a friend of yours, right? It's never something where it's like, oh, they talk to you and then they're transacting tomorrow, right? They buy or sell a house tomorrow. No, it's a nurture process, right? There is a sales cycle that is in place to make sure that they convert over. So the expectations that we always set with people is, yes, you're gonna spend money now, right, day one, but you're really not gonna see the results for the next 90 to 120 days, because let's not even get started on this market in April of 2021, seller's market, right? If you're a buyer, it might take you a year to even find a house that you don't get outbid on and an offer that you actually win. So not talking about today's market because it's crazy, but again, you wanna set these expectations of it. It's gonna take some time and it's going to take some money to actually see the results that you're looking for. Now, if that scares you and you're not willing to wait for results and you're not willing to spend money to see results, what we always recommend is jumping into some sort of organic marketing, right? Organic marketing is gonna take this out of the equation, but it's just gonna add more of this to the equation, right? Because there is usually a little bit of a starting point and you have to put consistent content out there and get in front of the right people. Of course, if you're new to this channel, you probably haven't heard us talk about this, but YouTube right now, from an organic standpoint, is, I believe, one of the best returns on your investment of time that there is. There's no competition. It's really easy to rank for a lot of these keywords of people that are actively looking to buy and sell in your market. And yeah, we won't go too far into that, but we'll leave some information on screen or another video you can go check out to talk about some of the pros and cons of YouTube and how to get started and things like that. So with that being said, this was a little bit of a longer video. I understand that, but I wanted to go through everything that you need to know in terms of the expectations of, should you work with a marketing company? What is BoldLeads? What is StreetText? What are these marketing agencies? And what types of questions should you be asking them before you actually give them money and sign on to their agency? So if you have any questions, as always, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. Click the subscribe button down below. Also the notification bell right next to that to get notified every single time we go live with a new video here on the channel. Of course, guys, my name is Aaron from the Revamped Real Estate team, as well as the Revamped Marketing guys here on YouTubes. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.